Hi, this is Rain Travels, and I just wanted to come to you. It's the beginning of 2026, January 11th to be exact, but this could be for any time. I wanted to talk to you about a new ETF that I found. It's totally lovely. It's called QQQi. It's called the NEO's Nasdaq 100 Income ETF. And I am an investor, not a trader. And this is kind of an ETF that I like because it pays monthly. I am not your investor or your advisor, so take this with a grain of salt. It's someone on the internet, but I truly like this ETF, and this is what I'll be using going forward. Now, this stock price for this ETF is $54.68 as of overnight tonight, January 11th, which is Sunday. It's very new. It opened back in January 24th, 2024, and it pays dividends of approximately 1.1% per month. Yes, that's per month. But if you took that and annualized it by the whole year, it would be 13.83. And the expense ratio is 0.68. So that means basically for every $10,000 you invest, you'll be paying $68. And that sounds like a lot, but you got to think. If you've got $10,000 invested, at the end of a year's time, you'll have $1,370 in addition to your $10,000. That's pretty good for just $10,000. And yeah, 10,000 is a lot, but you got to think every month it's paying a dividend that's compounded. The annual payout per share is going to be around $7.44 per share. And on my little notes here, I have the last dividend paid out was, I believe, December 26th. Merry Christmas to all of us who owned QQI already. That was 64 cents per share. The next dividend will pay January 21st, 2026. And actually, that's the ex-dividend date. The ex-dividend date is January 21st, 2026. And then it pays January 23rd. And estimated dividend is going to be 62 cents per share. Now you got to do that rule of 72 where you take 72 and divide the interest rate into it to know how soon your money will double. And I don't have a calculator here because I'm on my phone, which I use as my calculator. And you've got to take, so if it's paying 13.83% dividend, and that goes into 72, so I'm going to round up 14, go into 72, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to take about 6 years to double your money. Also, depending on what kind of bank you have, if you're a little short of money, for example, you want to get that dividend in cash, you can put it on the bank or brokerage firm that you want to get that in cash, that you don't want to do a DRIP, dividend reinvestment program. You can actually do it where you get the cash and you can use it and spend it. For example, a great thing to do would be, for example, if you were going to buy a car and you had $30,000 that you had saved up and you said, I'm going to take this $30,000 and buy a car. No, what you could do is take that $30,000, get QQQi, and it would pay you 1.1%. Therefore, at $30,000, 1% would be 10% is $3,000. 1% would be $300 per month. And then you take that $300 per month, you pay on that car, and at the end of the 5 years, you'd still have your $30,000 and you'd have the car. Same thing if you get like a windfall gain and you just have, like, I don't know, $100,000, which would be amazing. Can I hold some? Got my hand out. You could actually then take that $100,000, put it in QQQi, have it pay you $1,000 a month, and then purchase said item. Improve your credit and keep your $100,000. Also, a lot of people who have already got their 3 months, 6 months emergency fund and it's spilling over beyond the 6 months, this might be a good place to put it where you're getting a monthly dividend. Also here, I'm going to read what QQQi says, that it is the Nasdaq 100 High Income ETF. It generates its high income primarily through tax-efficient strategy involving selling covered calls on the Nasdaq 100 index. Dividends from QQQi are generally classified as a return of capital for the tax purposes, which defers the tax obligation until shares are sold. That's really good because you don't have to pay the tax right away. A potentially significant benefit for investors seeking retirement income. I think it's a really great idea because you're not only getting the 13.8% annualized dividend. Think about this. Beyond the dividend, the actual ETF can also increase in value. So therefore, instead of it being $54.68, it could grow to $60, $70, $100, still paying the 13% interest. I mean dividend, interest. Got interest on the brain right now. And that's why I really do like it. And now let's go over covered calls. Now, I'm not really a good options person, but I always remember this. For options, it's call up. So if you think the option's going to go up, it's call option. Put down. If you think the option is going to go, the price of the stock is going to go down, it's a put option. So therefore, they do have, in order to generate the income for the monthly dividend, they're selling covered calls, meaning they expect the ETF to go up. That's why they bought a call options on it. But they're covered because they're using actual shares and using that as, say, a collateral to cover the calls. And if, for example, the calls move out of their favor, then they will use the said stock that they bought to cover those calls. And they'll just get cash from it and repurchase whenever they need to. But that's a whole kettle of fish that I'm not into. I do like how you can make a lot of money on options. It's just so risky for me. This is a way I can be involved in options without having to monitor and watch the stock market all day long. Hope you like my video. Please subscribe and see you later.